Who remembers the BJ and Bill show all those years ago on WOLZ? Well, many have said they missed the show, and guess what? They're back. Welcome to the BJ and Bill podcast.
Welcome to BJ and Bill, the podcast, a part of the Podcast Playground Network. We ask you to give us that 5-star review wherever you subscribe, whether it be Apple, Spotify. We're all over the place. We're doing our podding right here. And, of course, we want you to follow us on Facebook, BJ and Bill, the podcast. And, of course, you can always email us. We have actually 2 email addresses, bjandbill@gmail.com.
Right.
Or BJ and Bill
podcast at
gmail.com. And then there's another one called BJ and Bill, the podcast at gmail.com.
So we have both.
Yes.
We have podcast and the podcast.
Yeah, and then there's one that's like real old that I can't even find anymore. So I think they've probably erased it. Back in the radio days, it was BJ and Bill at gmail.com.
I wonder if
I don't know if you made that or I made that, but I haven't been able to find it.
I could look. It doesn't sound like I made it, but anything's possible.
Let's just say this.
Yes.
I've sent email, like when we first got started doing the podcast.
Right.
Emails went through, so some BJ and Bill somewhere, if it wasn't us, I think may have gotten, because they didn't bounce back saying no.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Interesting. Well, then, if we looked it up, though, all right, now you're going to make me look that up. And
while you do that, my cousins are down in Zolfo Springs.
Okay.
And I'm, on my way to see my son this weekend. Well, I'm not leaving this weekend, but this week. We're going to stop and see them, and then we're going to stop and see them on the way back up, too. And so they wanted to make sure that I talked about my favorite cousin, because her and I just want you to know, Bill Stevens.
Yes.
You may not know this, but Gina and me, Gina Schultz, BJ Odom, only 2 people in the world that are perfect. At least that's what we tell our spouses.
I think some practicing Christians might have something to say about that, but that's none of my business. So if that's what you want to believe, you go for it, PJ Odom and Ms. Schultz. So wherever you are.
Yeah, we believe it. Damn it.
Okay.
We are perfect.
That's fine.
Our spouses never want to say we're not.
That's, again, all good. As long as you can convince your spouse of that.
Oh, I haven't been able to do that yet.
And maybe your kids and maybe your dog. Then I'm sure your dog thinks it. Your dog
thinks so, yeah.
Dogs think people are the greatest.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're dogs. We don't deserve dogs. They're too good for us. They really are. Every time I see a story on YouTube or Twitter, X, whatever, it's like, oh, come on. Really? They're just too nice. So anyway, there you go.
I want you to invent something, Bill.
What's that?
Some kind of shock collar that I can wear during the show.
Speaking of dogs.
No, I'm a human. I'm a human.
I
want a shock collar, and then I want you to have like some kind of button.
Right.
Every time I say,
zap.
Yeah.
Zap.
Yeah.
Okay. Is
that I've been
thing?
listening to the podcast over the months, and holy crap, I said it already.
All right, I'll just zap you when I hear it. I'm not great about it, but I understand what you're saying, and I've spoken to my co-host on the other podcast, The Practical Path with Bill Stevens and Vicki Wagner. She's got that habit too. And
is it the habit or a different phrase?
I'm not sure. Now that you mentioned that, I think it's my younger brother, Chris. Shout out to you, Chris. He's been gone for a while. He was terrible with that when we were kids. I mean, around the dinner table when people actually ate dinner together, and my father would count out loud the times so my brother would just be yak, 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 and my father would be 6, 7, 8, and eventually he would catch on. I don't know if it ever broke him of the habit, but all right, so you will get zapped every time.
Maybe when I say that, because I'm not going to say it, Maybe because I've already done it once.
Yes.
So 1.
1.
Next time you hear me
So
say
you want
that,
me to count?
I want you to go 2.
Okay. All right. I will count.
And at the end of the podcast, we may have 200,800,000. I can go, how many times can a freaking person say, but I'm not saying it right now.
Okay.
But
I understand.
Okay.
Do you think, and I don't have a whole lot of air checks back when we were on the radio. Did you do it when you were on the radio? If you listen to an old air check, would you hear it?
I can't remember because
I don't either. And I don't remember I don't remember it being an issue back then, but of course that was so long ago. My memory's probably shot, but doesn't matter. So anyway. Okay. So, all right. So we have 1. We're at 1. I'll try my best to remember. Folks at home, this is our game for the day. You're listening for BJ to say those 2 words that he's trying to break. And hats off to you, by the way. You're wearing your hat. Hats off to you for being aware of it and trying to work on making a change, because I think that's a good thing.
But when I listen to the podcast, it's like, I've got to make a change.
Right.
Because it's said like I said, a lot of times.
Okay. Well, now you're aware.
Now it's really weird. People that are listening to the podcast,
yes,
they're going to be counting along. So after this week, even they're going, oh my God, I can't believe how many times. And maybe have never noticed it before, but they are going to start now that I've made a thing about it.
I actually saw an article online, or maybe it was a YouTube video, I don't remember, from some speech coach or public speaking person or whatever, who was talking about how many times we say and that one, I think that one's for younger kids, is their thing. So you know what I'm talking about? And so, yeah, but again, good for anybody who's working to change any of that. I think it's just a little bit more mindfulness of what you're going to say. Don't start flapping your mouth until you actually have an idea that you're going to say something and what it might be. Don't have to have it fully formed, but just a better idea. Because I think a lot of times we just spew stuff back at our friends and our family without thinking about it.
Well, if that's the case, we might as well just shut down the podcast.
Because most of this podcast is just BJ and Bill spewing things at each other. That's for sure. That's for sure.
Now, that's kind of an urban thing, too.
The other one?
The other one.
Okay.
The one I'm not going to say this week. I've only said it once.
I got you.
But I've noticed on another podcast with one of my black friends, that's one of their key words, too.
Now you're going to make me aware of it. And you've
by the way, too, it's not Shaq.
No, it's not.
Or maybe it is Shaq. I don't know. I mean, I listen to this podcast now and again, but another podcast I listen to, I've heard a gentleman say that quite a few times.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with it as long as you don't overdo it.
Well, I overdo it because I listen to the podcast back every week. I kind of listen to the show and I go, oh my God, how many times can I say that in a podcast? Even my wife, she looks at me like, oh, there it went again. Oh, there you did it.
You mean while you're listening to the podcast or in real life?
No, while we're listening to the podcast.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if I do it in real life.
Good question. And obviously here while we're recording the podcast, there's no way of knowing, but Susan, while you're listening to this thing, get back to me and remind me later on how often he actually uses those words in real life, IRL, in real life.
Now we're doing things a little different today because normally we record on a Monday.
Right.
And we can talk about, the NFL. No NFL talk because Bill is going to be on the road tomorrow morning.
That went right past you, didn't it?
Did I? Oh, two? Oh my God!
I mean, it was casual and thrown out.
They're all casual.
We listen to the NFL, that kind of thing. So you did it. I mean, but okay, fine. So
okay. too.
If I have to interrupt you every time, this podcast is going to take 3 days to record.
Well,
So,
if it takes us 3 days to record it, damn it. But you
So you're
said
right,
that
though.
I had a hat.
you have a hat. I noticed that as we were going into the recording studio. BJ Odom is wearing his Tampa Bay Buccaneers hat, but not shirt.
And I normally on a Sunday
Right.
wear the hat and the shirt. And of course, I'm going for 3 wins in a row to get the jersey. And now, see,
Now,
we're gonna start
just to back up. Right. Just to back up for 2 seconds, you started to say that, and then we got distracted. That we're recording this show on a Sunday where we normally record on a Monday, and we can respond or react to all the NFL news. Unfortunately, that won't happen today because, yes, I'll be on the road tomorrow morning. You and I are both going south to Southwest Florida this week. We're just going to different places at different times. So anyway, having said all that, here we are recording this on a Sunday morning before game time. BJ Odom in Tampa Bay Buccaneers hat, but not shirt.
And that's because, okay, let me explain to the audience who may not know.
Yes.
I wore my shirt week 1. Tampa Bay won. I said, I'm not going to wash my shirt. I'm just going to hang it in the closet. Got it out week 2.
Mm-hmm.
They win again.
Mm-hmm.
Now week 3 comes around. Take my shirt out of the closet. Not yet washed. Have it on. The Bucs lose. I don't get to my 3 games in a row so I can buy a Baker Mayfield jersey.
Right. So you saved some money there.
That's true.
But I mean, I'm all for you buying a Mayfield jersey. I'm all for me buying a Mayfield jersey. They're a little pricey, but I get it. So, okay. So now, no shirt. Are you going to wash the shirt before the game or what?
Well, I went to get the shirt this morning.
Right.
Went to the closet and I go, oh my God.
How stinky was it?
I don't know, because I didn't get it out of my closet because of the loss. I put it in the hamper.
Okay.
Now, I will admit, in this household, yours truly is the guy who does I know, like in your house, you do the laundry.
Well, of course I do. I'm the only guy. I'm the only human in the house. So I'm doing the laundry. I'm doing the cooking. I'm doing the cleaning.
Yeah. So my job
in your house,
laundry.
Okay.
I guess I haven't done the laundry yet this week.
Okay. So
now
you got
wondering,
time.
I'm thinking the minute this podcast gets over, do I go pull it out and wear it? Or do I pull it out and get it in the washer as fast as I can to have it clean by game time?
My vote goes for washing to start to
start the streak again.
Start the streak again. Clear the energy, clear the vibes from last week's loss, and now give it that shot. So yeah. And for those of you who are listening to this, and obviously that's everybody who will be listening to this after the game, Tampa Bay and the Philadelphia Eagles today. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be exciting. So fingers crossed.
I don't even know if I'm going to watch it though.
Oh, come on. Oh, don't lie to us.
No, I have a reason.
What?
So like starting Wednesday of this past week, I went into AFib, which I haven't been in AFib in quite a while. That's where your heart beats rapidly.
Tell us more.
And the last time it was AFib, it was because of a damn Bucs game too, I think, that I had to go to the hospital and everything.
Really?
So what day was the hurricane?
For Thursday me, it was Thursday night. It was overnight Thursday into Friday morning. Yes.
Yeah. So it first started Wednesday, late Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah.
And then Thursday, it kind of like creeped in and out. It never, I think Thursday was the worst day by the end of the day.
Yeah. For me, it was. I'm north of you. So
I'm thinking my AFib though, not
right.
Not the
storm.
Not the hurricane.
Okay. So you had to, did you actually have to go to the doctor on a hurricane day?
Let me say this. If it was not a hurricane,
you would have gone.
And I did not watch the news where they put this seawall. They built like a seawall all the way around Tampa General Hospital.
I saw that.
I would have went Thursday, but I don't even know if I would have gotten in if I would have went. And I did notice that they said anybody who has emergencies and needs to go see Tampa General Hospital, go like, and they gave other outlets where you could go, emergency rooms.
Right. They have other little clinics around town.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I don't know what would, but I called, I called and talked to, the person on call, and
right.
They said maybe double my meds.
Oh.
And so I did that.
Wow.
And now things seem to be calmed down. Now today so far, I've only taken one.
Okay.
Everything is good.
Okay.
But yeah, it was kind of a weird couple of days because, it came, wasn't really strong Thursday. Oh, Bill just put up 3 fingers. I know what that meant. Keep going though. Keep going.
I mean, you did it. It kind of flowed with the conversation, so I didn't want to stop you mid-word there. So was your AFib, was that a result of the storm? Was that just stress over the storm?
No, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah. Because it wasn't, I mean, I don't know about you. It was pretty strong windy up around here and rain. I mean, I was out on my porch for a while. It was exciting, out in the storm. And I think I just said there.
Oh, way to go. I should have.
I know. Now I'm going to hear myself.
There.
Now I'm going to hear myself do it. It was, again, I went outside about 11 o'clock before bedtime. It looked full on hurricane. I mean, thankfully it wasn't strong hurricane, but it was the sheets of rain and the gusty wind. And then around 11:30 or midnight, I think the wind changed. The storm must have passed where Gainesville is elevation wise or north-south wise, because the wind had been blowing from the back of the building to the front of the building. And then it changed and it started blowing, and it started beating on my bedroom window, right? Like right over my head where I'm going to sleep. And I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Yesterday I went for a walk. I haven't been for a walk since the storm. I try to walk almost every day. And we actually had one of our buildings. Our apartment has separate little fourplexes for apartments, upstairs, downstairs, and left and right. And then there's 2 or 3 buildings that actually have 3 stories of regular, like long hallway apartments. So we have both. And one of our buildings did lose a couple of windows on the 2nd and 3rd floor.
Oh, wow.
And I don't really know how, because there's no trees there to have stuff blown in. Maybe they just blew in. I don't know. But I did see some blue tarp on the side of the building, where they nailed it up to the side of the building. So interesting. I don't know.
Then what is really
leave their apartments or what?
Not really baffling, but then I watched the news the following day.
Right.
And Asheville, North Carolina, South Carolina. I mean,
is it north or south? I don't know which one it is.
But Asheville got belted with water, flooding, like worse than almost if you were right on the Gulf of Mexico in some places.
Well, yeah.
But I mean, they didn't maybe get the winds, but they got the flooding. Right. I mean, water and everything just running down the street like we saw on Fort Myers Beach during, the big hurricane there.
Yep. And interesting, Asheville's North Carolina, by the way. Not that that's super important, but just for those who are nitpicky about it, Asheville, North Carolina. I was actually chatting with our friend Vicki Wagner up in Blue Ridge, Georgia, because I thought they might be getting it, because the way the storm track was, it kind of went through Atlanta. It ended up going east and going to Asheville and other places. And I had mentioned to her about actually visiting Asheville at some point. And she wrote me back this morning and said, did you see the video from Asheville? I'm like, oh my God, yeah, I won't be going there anytime soon. So anyway, prayers, thoughts, best wishes to everybody and Florida. I mean, St. Pete, at St. Pete Beach got hammered again as well. There was some video from a place I used to visit when I lived in Clearwater. I lived in Clearwater for 2 years, and there was a great little shopping and restaurant place right on the water called John's Pass. And I don't know if you're familiar with it, but there was a beautiful, fun little, listen to me. I said, a beautiful, fun little, a seafood place, Friendly Fisherman or what it was called. And a couple of guys that worked there walked through it with a video camera, and it was on YouTube. And that whole shopping area looks like it looks like it's been abandoned for 50 years. It's been gutted. The buildings are still standing, but everything is blown through front to back, and the shops, the gift shops, the surf shop, the restaurant, it just looks like a bomb went off inside and just devastated the interiors of everything. And it's so sad. I mean, again, blessings and best wishes and whatever we can send to the good people all over that. I think
and it is all over.
It's all
because
over.
Our old stomping grounds.
Yeah.
Downtown Fort Myers got flooded. Also, I heard that there's like now sand like up on the roads again on Fort Myers Beach.
I believe it. And I also saw a video from Sarasota. Where I lived for 7 years, Sarasota, St. Armand's Circle, a multi-million dollar shopping complex. Well, it's an old historic on Siesta Key on the island off Sarasota, with the water literally up to the bottoms of the storefronts. And these are like the Louis Vuitton and the art galleries and the jewelry stores, and I'm sure they're all oh my goodness. It's weird. It's crazy. I don't know. What are the gods trying to tell us here? I don't know,
but it's dangerous.
It's crazy out there, folks. So anyway, blessings to all and best wishes to all. And no matter where you are, take good care and, do your best, because we're praying for you. It's all we can do. And give some money to Red Cross and all that sort of thing to help out as well. So anyway, there you go.
This storm, by the time we get to the end of it, we talk about how much money and how insurance, there's what was I just noticed it myself. That was number 4 for me.
And you know what? I don't think I heard that one. I think it went right past me. So good for you to catch it. Good for you. You're right, though. And I've seen those videos too about is Florida are you going to be able to live in Florida in 10 years because of the insurance costs and the weather and the fact, of course, that every condo has got homeowners association fees that are going through the roof because they have to repair everything. Florida is going to become unlivable. Maybe except for those of us here in the middle of the state where it's not too terrible, but I don't know. It's crazy.
But still, our insurance rates are going up probably.
Oh my God. Everybody's insurance rates are going up. Of course it is.
And now when you see the storm that went all the way up into the Midwest, insurance companies, that may not be a profitable business anymore.
I don't have an answer for that because I don't like the idea of government running that sort of thing. And yet in Florida, there's that Citizens Insurance, which is a government-run operation. It's kind of the insurer of last resort. When nobody else will take you, they will, because you have to have insurance. You don't have to have insurance, but if the storm comes and destroys your house, you're out the $500,000 for your house. So,
but there are now a lot of people that are going without insurance.
I've heard that. I've been spending a lot of time on YouTube lately and not watching cat videos, watching actual newscasts and actual experts in real estate and insurance and the law and all of that stuff, because this condo thing has got me fascinated of what's going to happen there. But you're right. A lot of people might make the decision or might be forced to make the decision because they just don't have the money to not have insurance, which sounds crazy to me. And I'm not sure you can do it if you still have a regular mortgage, because a lot of times the mortgage holder, the bank, will require you to have insurance. But if you own your house outright, you don't have to.
Yeah.
So crazy. We haven't solved any of the universe's problems this morning, BJ. What are we doing here?
We've talked about enough of them, though.
We're just bitching about problems, and we haven't solved anything yet. Come on. I thought you were one of the two perfect people on planet Earth. Get you and your cousin, get your head together and figure something out for us here.
Well, I'm going to see her on Tuesday, so hopefully we can start working on all this stuff.
Good. That's good.
I don't know if this is a gripe, if this is, I don't know what it is, but you're not, almost, did I do it?
You did it.
5. So you're not a big television person.
Well, regular TV.
Sports.
Yeah, I watch my sports, but that's about it. You're right. I'm not on the Hallmark Channel like you are. No.
So America's Got Talent, another one of those shows I watch every now and again.
Mm-hmm.
Very good talent. I mean, it seems like the talent just gets better and better and better.
Okay.
Well, this past season,
yes,
a gentleman, middle-aged, maybe upper echelon of the middle-aged,
right,
who was a janitor at a high school, had a halfway decent voice.
Okay.
I thought he was a good singer.
Okay.
Thought he did a great job.
Okay.
But the part being, a janitor from a high school, kind of a nerdy looking, not cool dude at all.
Right.
It has a great story. The great story where a man from nothing rolls up and becomes a great singer and becomes a star.
Sure.
He won America's Got Talent. I think there was so much more, I know this isn't proper English, talented people on that show this year than him.
Oh, I see.
But America votes.
I see.
And I think the key of winning shows like that these days is the story instead of what really should be. If you're talking about America's Got Talent and looking for the most, and this is my opinion.
No, go for it. Keep going.
But I'm just saying he wasn't the most, in my opinion, again, he wasn't the most talented person by far even.
Oh, okay.
This season, I don't think.
I got you.
But he had an incredible story. So people voted for the story and the underdog situation, I think, more than they did the talent. That's okay. That's all I'm going to say about it. And then we can move on.
And I'll just add, in the marketing world,
it was a perfect story.
Story matters. And to say how much it matters, a lot. A good story matters a lot. So now, again, is it right? Is it unfair? I don't know. But I will say when I was years ago, I was in a lot of those network marketing businesses, like Amway and all that fun. I wasn't in Amway, but I'm saying you were in a network marketing business where you were selling your business and your products to your friends and family and strangers. It didn't matter. The story was so important that they encouraged you to create a great story, either about the product or how it changed your life, or how rags to riches kind of a thing. The story is what sells almost everything.
And
so this guy had a great story.
Too.
I'm sorry.
Probably ratings on the show too. Probably.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. If the guy had a great story, you want to see, again, it's that rags to riches story, right? The guy started as a janitor in a high school somewhere, and now he's the full arc of the story to, oh my God, he won America's Got Talent. So yes, the story completes itself. It doesn't have to end that way. There could be a sad ending to it. Oh, he didn't win, but he'll keep singing there in the school and entertaining the kid, whatever. But obviously the winning is the story ending that most people probably would like to see. Rags to riches, boy meets girl, underdog wins game, girl meets boy. I didn't want to be sexist there. But
I'm so out of practice. It's been 5 years since I've been on a stage, I think 4 or 5 years.
Right.
But I had people back in the day saying, man, you got a great story. You should be on America's Got Talent. Now I'm thinking, damn it, I should have listened to him. Poor little boy, he's been sick since he was a baby. He had a heart transplant. He's had a kidney transplant. And now he's trying to do magic and become the world's best comedy musician.
That's an interesting.
My wife just goes, that's annoying.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, I get it. It doesn't, but it doesn't seem like it flows as well as High School Janitor, because he's probably singing while he's mopping the floors at night or whatever. You know, there's a whole arc to it. Yours is a great story. And gee, who's told BJ Odom? Listen, folks, who's told BJ Odom for 20 years that he needs to write down this story or have somebody write it for him? Oh, wait, I have. So yes, you have a story. I'm not sure it's the one that ends with you
winning America's
going on America's Got Talent or whatever, but it's a good story either way. And
well, it sure won't be American Idol. I'll tell you that right now.
Won't be American Idol. No, it sure as heck won't be American Idol. I get that. So, but again, let me keep encouraging you. Find somebody to write this story.
I could find them. I could find them and they were interested, I would do it.
Really? Ghostwriters. One of my...
I can't even find a QR code right now. You want me to find a ghostwriter?
BJ and I had a 20-minute phone conversation yesterday while I was waiting for my sub to be prepared. And he's looking for a QR code so he can put it on his business card, which doesn't make a lot of sense if you're giving the business cards away, but I understand. I get it. Whatever. So,
but it's easy. I don't know. My son, who was a great entrepreneur.
Yes.
That was his suggestion.
QR code. So somebody could so you wouldn't have to give them the business card, or you could.
You give them the business card, but if they're sitting there, because what it is, Gift of Life, the Organ Transplant Podcast, another podcast I do. You do a second podcast also, Bill. I was going, because I have a couple doctor's appointments at the transplant. I got the kidney transplant doctor, I got the heart doctor coming up. And I thought, because too, also, I'm always looking for stories. I'm always looking for people who've had transplants that could be on the show and I can talk to them about their experience and their story.
Yes.
So I thought, just like, well, I'm in the waiting room. I think I'll sit here for a couple minutes, drop about 4 or 5 cards. Oh, I think I'll move over to that side of the waiting room. Drop 4 or 5 cards.
Oh, I see. You're just dropping cards. Are you chatting people?
Maybe I'll sit over there for a little while. Ooh, drop 3 or 4 cards there. And so people will see them and go, oh, I've had a transplant. Oh, let me go check it out. Right there while they're waiting.
I see.
For their doctor.
Sure.
Because you know you're going to wait for a while. They scan the QR code. They get interested. They like, if not, contact me.
Right.
To share their story.
Right.
At least maybe I found another set of ears to listen to the podcast.
Where does the QR code take them when you scan it?
Well, BJ and Bill, we have, I don't know what it's called, a link code or whatever.
Oh, well, you mean for our podcast?
BJ and Bill, the podcast.
Yes.
I have a website. I don't know what it's called. It's called something. I didn't design it. The folks at the podcast playground designed it. And you put that on like Facebook or something, and then you send them to the link. It shows it, Spotify, Apple,
Oh, I see. It's in the business that's called a link tree.
Yeah, it's our link tree.
Yeah, link tree, which shows all the places where you can get the podcast. That's a good idea. I hadn't thought of that. I should do that for my other podcast too.
I wouldn't doubt you already have one, or talk to Jay.
I will. That's awesome. But I use the same thing for my marketing business, where because if you're on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, you can't be posting all of those links. They'll ban the post. They'll trash them. But you can put one link to say, go here for all my information, and you land on that web page, and it's got, okay, here's my podcast, here's my show, here's all blah blah blah, everything about me on one page. So yeah, that's called a link tree. It's a great idea. Great idea. Mr. Odom, or actually Podcast Playground. I'll have to do that.
Don't thank me for it. Wasn't my brains that came up with it.
So you're looking for a whatchamacallit, a QR code generator that is not going to charge you an arm and a leg, since you don't have the parts to spare.
Yeah, because
we'll
I have
work on
noticed,
that.
and if you read the fine print, all of them will give you a free QR code.
Right.
But then, like in 10 days, 4 days, then it's either I've found anything from $5 to $19.99 a month.
A month.
But they also give you analytics like, okay, so 10 million people used
used it. Sure. I get it. Okay. Well, we'll work on that. We'll work on that for you. That's fine.
Well, the only problem is I need to do it quickly.
Okay.
Because my visits are coming up by the 15th of October.
We'll get right on that. But first, we're going to get right on a break. Go refill your coffee, make your pit stop, do what you need, and we will be right back. Welcome back. This is BJ and Bill, the podcast. Still searching for that QR code. If you would like to get in touch, we would love to hear from you. Our email address, as we said earlier, is bjandbillpodcast@gmail.com. You can visit our Facebook page. Again, it is BJ and Bill Podcast. Just do a search on Facebook. You'll find us. And of course, we would love it if you would stop by wherever you pick up your fresh green podcasts. Feels like a grocery store, like Publix. Wherever you get your podcasts, whether that's Apple or Spotify or YouTube Music, or it doesn't matter. Just leave the 5-star review, and that's the part that's important. There you go.
And just to let people know,
yes,
as we try to grow this podcast,
yes,
we don't use any chemicals at all.
No.
Don't use fertilizers.
No.
Don't use, bug control.
Totally organic.
Yeah. So we're an organic podcast.
We're an organic podcast. I love that. That's a great idea. So very good. So BJ is trying to spread the word about his other podcast, and that's a cool thing. Look up The Gift of Life. But you can't, but we were just investigating while we were on the break. We were looking at website names. And so if you wanted to buy the website, if you wanted to buy giftoflife.com, it's extraordinarily expensive. So you'll just have to do a search for it somewhere. Gift of Life podcast. It's also, it's also, that podcast is also on all the other outlets, right?
Yes.
Of course it is. Just like the Practical Path podcast, of course.
I've been listening to that.
Awesome. Thank you.
I don't know if it's making me any more practical, but I'm enjoying it.
Thank you. Thank you. I listened to one Gift of Life. If you're going to listen to mine, I'll have to go back and return the favor. So
now, did you listen to episode 8
of your podcast? No.
Yes.
What did I miss?
That's the one that has the mother that heard her son's heartbeat in another, in the recipient.
Wow. Yeah.
And the same guy who threw the leaves at the daughter, where the son used to do that.
Wow.
To his sister. So it was for a guy who has had a transplant.
Yes.
That one was not an easy one. I mean, it was easy to do, but emotionally for me,
right,
that was probably one of the hardest ones I've done. But it was probably the most enjoyable. Does that make sense to you? I guess.
Oh,
yeah,
sure.
Emotional and enjoy can all.
Oh, sure. Of course. I mean, touching. See, story. It had a great story. Of course, all of those, I would imagine that all of your Gift of Life podcasts have great stories to them. But this one rose above even the good stories to be a great story. So yes, it's all about the story. So there you go. We were talking about that earlier.
I hit episode 22, and it seems like I found this almost 3 times now, which I guess I was extremely lucky. I had a great cardiologist in Fort Myers.
Right.
And then when it was time for the transplant, sent me on to Tampa, to be evaluated by, one of their cardiologists.
Not once, but twice,
I said,
yes.
twice in that sentence. Oh my God. So
one of them was almost, One of them was almost allowable, but
Okay.
see, I don't want to. I don't want to interrupt you. So yeah, these are good stories. So you got sent by the cardiologist from Fort Myers to Tampa.
I have noticed with 3 of these people already that it took a while for them to be correctly diagnosed to get to Tampa. So by the time they did get to Tampa, they were in extreme critical need for the organs from misdiagnoses. Is that a word?
Misdiagnoses.
Yeah.
A misdiagnosis is a word, yes. Or is it? Well, so all right. I'm curious to hear more. These are not all just heart transplant people. These are people.
I've talked to kidneys,
Right.
lungs, but I
Right.
mean,
So how would that be? Tell me one of the stories about somebody being misdiagnosed. What kind of symptoms did they have? And what did they think it was?
well, the lady who wrote the book, Peggy Lindsay, which was just on a few weeks ago,
Right.
talked about how they couldn't really, they weren't even saying, I don't know, you got to really listen to the podcast.
Sure.
But she was having symptoms and they were telling her it was no big thing.
Oh.
Like half of your heart's not working. Oh, but it's no big thing. And so when she did get to the right doctor to get the right diagnosis while she was getting her heart cath, and the doctor kind of leaned down and said, we're admitting you are having major heart complications.
Right.
And
right now.
You are in dire need to be here at the hospital.
Yes.
And then she said, I told the doctor, I guess it's no big thing then, is it, doc?
I mean, hats off to our friends in the medical profession, but they're human and they all have their own opinions and beliefs and training and experience. And how the hell does it lead to such different outcomes?
Right.
How does one guy say no big deal and the other guy says, we're admitting you right now, you're in big trouble? How does that happen?
Well, even the doctor that would not, didn't admit her said half of your heart isn't functioning right.
But he said it was no big deal.
Yeah.
In what universe is that okay? I don't get it. I mean,
yeah.
That makes no sense to me.
If nothing else, the podcast is very interesting just for some of the stories I've heard.
I'm sure.
And then another one was a minority. And so I don't know if it was a prejudiced doc. I don't know.
Okay.
A racist doc. I don't know.
I hear you.
But again, got misdiagnosed, thought it was something totally different.
Mm-hmm.
Her kidneys were failing. She was in kidney failure. Saw another doctor a few days later. And I guess whatever medicine that they wanted her to take would have probably made it even worse.
Wow.
And so, again, misdiagnosis ended up, though, being a happy story. How many of those misdiagnoses, though, you got to wonder, don't get to the right person or don't get to the second person, and it ends badly?
When people ask me how many times I've ever been in a hospital or even, a clinic or whatever, my answer is as damn few as possible, because more people die there for all kinds of crazy reasons. I mean, God bless BJ Odom. He's got good care and they take good care of him and all that. And he's been blessed for 25, 30 years now. Well, since he was a kid, actually. So more than that. But medical issues kill thousands and thousands and thousands of people. They just do. And again, I'm a victim of watching too many YouTube videos with real doctors saying, you don't want to come and see me. It's going to be a nightmare. Take good care of yourself. Eat well, get exercise, get sunshine. And the rest is pretty much, I mean, unless you have something that's been around for years and years, or you're in an accident and break a bone or something like that. I understand there are times when this sort of thing is needed, but most diseases, most problems with health are lifestyle related. We do it to ourselves by the things we eat, by the exercise we don't get, by the bad habits we have with smoking and drinking. And don't get me started. Seems like every week we get me started on something.
Oh my goodness.
I hear you.
We're just getting started all the time.
We're just two old men yelling, "Get off my lawn, kids."
Well, speaking of scientists and medical, things, change the subject a little bit, because scientists think that humans developed eyebrows to express subtle emotions. It's like the early day emojis.
I'm making eyebrows at the camera. I get it. What? That's weird.
I know you're going to say, tell me more, but I just read the headlines.
Okay. I get it. No, I'm not going to say tell you more, but then, because I would think, but everything has eyebrows. Dogs do, cats do. Well, do cats? I don't know. Dogs sure as heck do, and they use them really well for surprise and fun and all of that. Why would they have them? And why? I don't know. BJ Odom, you bring up these crazy ass things, and now we got to try and sort it out. And all you bring to the table is a doggone headline.
It's my job.
I understand.
It's my job, Bill Stevens. How many times have we said on this show, you're the brains of the operation?
Oh, sure. Then this show is in big trouble. This show is the Titanic heading for yet another iceberg.
No, did you ever watch Matlock?
I didn't. You sent me that video. You sent me the cute little video of what's her name, Kathy Bates, saying, "Don't tell the secret." And I haven't watched it yet, because I don't know if it's, I guess it's available. Like you said, I do it on demand or whatever on my cable TV. It's probably on YouTube by now, for God's sakes.
That's what I would think.
Yeah. So I got to watch, and you're still not going to tell me the secret. So don't tell me.
Big plot twist at the end of episode 1, or maybe it was the pilot. I don't,
Right.
They always, sometimes when you watch a TV show,
right,
the first episode will either say the word pilot or will say episode 1. So I don't know.
In the old days, in the old days, pilot was really, I don't know why. They're not like flying the plane or anything. I don't know.
Well, the pilot also, a lot of times, a pilot is like the movie or the show and the idea and the characters and kind of a setup of the whole thing as a whole. And then a lot of times the pilot, when it becomes episode 1, is an entirely different, maybe that's what it is. Maybe sometimes the pilot makes it as the first episode.
Maybe.
And other times actors are exchanged or characters are changed, because after the pilot is made, they go, well, no, but let's do this or let's do that and let's do this. So then you can't use the pilot as episode 1. But if the pilot is perfect, like me and my cousin,
right, then you can use it.
And then you use that as the pilot as episode 1. And it's the pilot and not episode 1.
Us sci-fi fans know that story. Here we go. Today has been about stories. Know that story so well from Star Trek. The very first pilot of Star Trek was turned down by the network. They said, no, we don't want, that sucks. We don't want to do it. It still became episode number 1, but they changed a ton of stuff. They changed the captain, William Shatner was not the captain on episode number 1 of Star Trek. He wasn't. And Spock was in it, and Leonard Nimoy as Spock. And Majel Barrett was in it, who was Gene Roddenberry's wife. She played an important part, and that was the only one she was ever in as that character. So yeah. And then they came along, and then God bless you, Lucille Ball. Lucille Ball is the reason why Star Trek is what it is to this day. She said, no, we'll take a chance on it. Her production company, Desilu Productions, that produced her show and a couple of others, did Star Trek and made it what it is. Lucille Ball, we bow down to you as the woman who shepherded Star Trek onto our TV screens.
I would say the biggest and it's not really a sci-fi. It's more of a comedy than a sci-fi. But I think the sci-fi, because I'm not really like you are into the Star Wars and all.
Star Wars, Star Trek, all of it.
I could care less.
Okay.
But the one that got me, and which really wasn't a sci-fi, but it was kind of a comedy, is, I don't know. Let me just say the name of it: Big Bang Theory.
Big Bang Theory was not sci-fi at all, but it was scientific kind of, because they were all nerds.
Yeah,
they were all science nerds.
Yes,
and yes, it's hilarious. I mean, especially for me, kind of a nerdy guy myself, it's hilarious. I mean, and what's her name? Kelly. What's her name? Kelly. Can't ever pronounce her name. Yeah, but not hard to watch. Not hard to look at. As
what? I'll bet every geek in the world watched that show and said, "Where's my penny?" All I want is Kelly Coco. That was her name.
Right.
Where's my penny?
Where's my penny? I know. I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting. So anything's possible. Anything is possible.
Leonard got Penny, ended up with Penny. And then what's the other guy? Wallowitz or whatever?
Right. Ended up with.
Yeah, that was a cute little blonde too.
Right.
I think the only one that really got.
I forget her name, but she went on to do the night court thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the only one that really kind of got screwed out of the deal was who's the guy that had to.
Sheldon? No.
Yeah, Sheldon.
Yeah,
Sheldon. I mean, she wasn't bad.
He was too geeky. Yeah, he was too.
He was so geeky. He got another geek in return. He got a she geek.
That's okay. So I just wanted to make this earth-shaking announcement.
You're pregnant.
Waited until 52 minutes into the show. So I'm done with the dating websites for a while.
Done?
I'm on hiatus, just like your favorite show in the summertime. I'm on sabbatical, to use the fancy word. I'm on a break. My subscription to the dating website, I was using the one for old folks, called old folks. It's called Our Time. It's like for 55 and up or 50 and up. I forget. Again, no complaints.
You had your time. That's the one I'm on now.
I had my time.
You had your time.
So the subscription expired last week, and I did not renew it. I didn't. I just decided to take a break and just, chill for a while.
I just said again, but
you did, but it was introducing an idea.
Yeah,
so I'll let you slide on that one. I'll pick up the flag on that one.
I don't even know if I should say this out loud during the podcast.
Now you got everybody going, now you've done it, spill it.
Bill, would you like to tell everyone where you are going tomorrow?
I'm going to Venice, Florida. Yes.
Why?
Because the lady that I had been living with for several years had, I'm not going to say knee replacement. She had knee surgery last week, and I am going to help out around the house for a few days in her recovery. Yes.
I watch the Hallmark movie constantly.
Okay. Tell me the plot twist.
This sounds like the storyline. Old girlfriend.
Right.
Needs a little help through a medical crisis.
Yes.
Old boyfriend goes back.
Volunteers.
And goes back to help said lady. Only going to be there for maybe 5 days.
3 days.
Yeah. 3 days.
Yeah.
It's about a week.
Yep.
3 days.
Yep.
Within that time, in most Hallmark movies, by the end of the movie, they are embracing, saying, "This is where I always knew I was meant to be." Bill Stevens, are a Hallmark movie in the making.
This week's episode goes under the heading of "It's all about the story." because there's another one. Now, I don't have time because there's only 6 minutes left to go in the hour. I don't have time to give you the 492 reasons why that's not going to happen.
In a Hallmark movie. In a Hallmark movie.
Yes.
You could take even more than those.
And yet.
And somehow.
At the end.
They form the perfect bond.
You are a storytelling genius, BJ Odom. It's still not going to happen.
Because tell us again next week.
Next week.
That
I will be back.
Going
at this
to
point, I will be back. Well, we'll do the show on a Monday. So in 8 days, I will be back here. Well, as far as our listeners, you'll still hear it at the same time. So it doesn't matter. Telling you.
Or will I get the call? I'm staying another week. She's not exactly back to normal yet. And I need to help her for another few days.
BJ, I appreciate your storytelling, and I appreciate your Hallmark movie, your Hallmark, whatever. I don't know, setup, whatever. I can tell you, of course, it's not. I mean, I could tell you anything, but how do you?
You can lie all you want.
How do you
can lie all you want for the inside.
Yeah, lying through
saying something different.
Yeah. But I'm going to tell you right now that I will know in the first day of being there. I will be reminded more than once of why I am no longer in that relationship. I will tell. It's just going to happen. It's just going to happen. So trust me when I tell you, I will be back in this chair with this living room behind me that you can't see in a week when we record the next podcast.
I'll be saying, "Who's that lady back there?"
Yeah, no, that ain't gonna happen.
Well, if that doesn't happen, plan 2.
What's that?
Plan 2. If that doesn't happen,
I'm not. I don't understand. What did you say?
I have a plan 2 for you.
Oh, you have plan B. I
have a plan B.
I'm listening.
Because I'm watching it as we speak.
Uh-oh.
I'm watching I watched the Senior Bachelor, the Golden Bachelor.
Golden Bachelor. And now we're doing Bachelorette.
Yeah, the Golden Bachelorette.
You turned me on to that this week. Thank you. Yes.
So I guess you'll have to wait a season, because next season again, it'll be the Golden Bachelor. And then the next year,
right,
it'll be the Golden Bachelorette again.
Right.
So we'll get you.
Thank you.
We'll send your tape in and
my story,
your story, and we'll get you on.
I think I'd rather
Golden Bachelorette then.
Bachelor. I think I'd rather be the one with the choice. Of course,
would, right? Who wouldn't?
Who wouldn't
want to have like 28 women to choose from?
Right. Rather than being one guy
guys,
out of 20 that's trying to make nice with a lady. I get it. Yeah, that's. Somebody asked me. I'll finish on this. Somebody asked me about the dating websites. And occasionally when you're chatting with a lady, maybe it works with men too, I don't know, I just chat with the ladies, that they will ask you, how long have you been on the website? How's it going? What are you finding? And my story, it's all about story this week. My story has become this, that as I use the website, as I try and communicate with people, try and reach out, try and chat, whatever, it seems to me that it's like a really, really, really fancy store. A lot of people come in to shop, very few come in to buy. And I think that's how it works on these dating websites, that there's so many people, so many options, so many, oh my God, if this guy's not perfect, I'll just go on to the next and the next and the next. It just doesn't. And again, it's like a doctor. If the doctor cures you, he loses his patient. He loses his income, right?
Well, I'm going to close out the show.
Okay.
With one last thought.
Okay, fine.
Ladies, if you're out there looking for your perfect man.
Perfect.
And you pick up Bill Stevens.
Yes.
He is that. And he's worth it.
Oh.
That $100,000 watch that you can now purchase online.
From the Trump organization. For a while there, I thought you were going to say something nice, BJ Odom, and I was all set to thank you, but I see that it's gone to the joke, of course. So thank you, kind of, sort of, not really, but it's awesome. Okay. So I will be back here next week. I'm sure there will be stories to tell. And you, what do you, oh, and you're going to Fort Myers to visit your son. We're both traveling in the next week. What am I going to do with you? Jesus.
Oh, I can't wait till you're there Wednesday. And you go, hey, for little shits and giggles, let's listen to this week's podcast.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sure. That'll be great. No, absolutely, positively not. So, yeah, I don't. Thank you. No. So, folks, if you're listening, don't talk to my ex-girlfriend, whatever you do. So there you go. All right. Stop laughing, young man. You've had too much fun this year, this hour.
It's like going to a G. David Howard concert.
Just nonstop laughs. Just nonstop laughs. All right. Sunday is coming as we record this. Enjoy your NFL for the day. We're not, of course, it's over by the time you hear this. So we'll see. By the way, did you know that we have, again, we're recording this on a Sunday morning, so we have Tampa Bay coming up in an hour.
I got laundry.
And then they're on Thursday night. Short week. Right?
Oh, is Tampa playing on Thursday Night Football?
Aren't they?
I don't know.
Oh, don't do that to me. Don't make me look it up with 2 seconds left to go here. Tampa Bucks schedule. Yeah, let's see. So, yeah, they got Philadelphia. Yes, against your favorite, against Atlanta, Thursday night. So it's an important, big week for you Bucks fans out there. So get your dirty T-shirt washed or whatever you need to do to bring the Buccaneers some luck, and we'll see how it goes.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, have a great week. It's been super fun talking this week all about great stories. We look forward to more of them in the weeks to come. Have yourself a great week. But up till then, it's just up now to BJ Udom to say,
I'll see you next week in love. See ya. Bye.